So with the race in New York City tightening up, it really does look like Zohran Mamdani is going to be the next mayor of New York City. And he's probably going to do even more damage with his ridiculous 5 promises. Before I get into this, please, if you enjoy what you hear in this video, then like and subscribe to help build this kingdom. Plain and simple, he's just a pathetic liar. Zohran comes from money, his father is a Marxist professor, and in no way, shape, or form is he one of the normal working class. The dude didn't get a job until he was 29 years old, and he's 34 now. But he is a communist Muslim, and as redundant as it is to say, I mean, that's what they do. They lie. In fact, that's what they do. It's a practice called taqiyya. It's done so that they can preserve themselves in areas where they are not in power, and they don't even take friends who are non-Muslims. All of it in the service of the ultimate goal, which is to have Islam conquer everything so that it is the one and only religion. And he's just practicing it here so that he can get in power. And as so often happens, he's easily debunked like the vast majority of politicians. He's already received over $13,000 from 170 foreign donors, which is illegal, by the way, and yet he's a Democratic sweetheart, so he gets away with it. Literally, right here, 52 USC 30121, contributions and donations by foreign nationals. And it says here under Section A, prohibition. Quote, "It shall be unlawful for a foreign national, directly or indirectly, to make a contribution or donation of money or other thing of value, or to make an express or implied promise to make a contribution or donation in connection with a federal, state, or local election." So the fact that he has received any sort of funding whatsoever should basically disqualify him, but again, this is New York, they're gonna protect their own. He's also made absolutely retarded claims that somehow his aunt was the only real victim from 9/11. Yeah, I can give about 3,000 reasons why that's a complete and utter fucking lie. Mamdani also tried to claim that his aunt was so scared and couldn't wear her hijab after 9/11.
I want to speak to the memory of my aunt. Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
And that's another lie, too. Apparently, reports show that not only is she still alive, so she's not dead, I don't know why he implied that, but she wasn't even living in the United States at this time. Not only does she not wear a hijab, she was living in Tanzania from 2000 to 2003. Goodness, this keeps getting funnier. So just as I'm editing this video, apparently someone called out Mamdani for lying about his aunt living in America at the time. And just as I said, taqiyya in practice, here he is claiming that his aunt was actually his cousin.
How will you respond to President Trump?
Recently, in a recent address about Islamophobia, you referenced your aunt and some of the harassment she was facing post 9/11. Is that a blood relative?
Yes, I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zerafui, my father's cousin, who sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city to be the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own.
There's also a lot of emotional appeal to all of these bleeding heart libtards who are like, oh, he's still one of us, when he's over here eating rice with his hands, but here's a photo of him trying to eat a Chipotle burrito on the New York subway. Man, look at those utensils he's using. Those aren't his hands. Also notice this isn't some pre-recorded or set up image of him in a fine suit eating with his hands, whereas in this he's in street clothes. Also, for anybody who doesn't know, Chipotle is halal. Halal in Islam is anything that is permissible or lawful in Sharia law. Sharia law being Islamic law. Now, food in particular must be clean of any forbidden substances like pork, blood, alcohol, and meat from animals not killed according to Islamic rites. And considering that burrito looks like it's the size of an NFL football, I highly doubt that thing's filled with only vegetables. So this devout Muslim is clearly lying about relating to people in New York. He only follows the Muslim faith when it suits him best, because again, it's taqiyya. Now, worse yet, of course, Bernie Sanders supports this guy because communist's gonna communist. And at one of his recent rallies, he made 5 big promises to New York.
Here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line and make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease. And we are going to create universal childcare at no cost to parents. So New Yorkers can raise their family in the city they love. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
Freeze the rent, build more houses, eliminate bus fare, speed up those buses, and universal childcare. Starting with freezing the rent, this is one of the worst things that could be done because it's only going to enrich the rich. Okay, plain and simple, if no one is paying the rent, then either the rent is paid through taxpayer funds anyway via the state, so the rent isn't actually frozen, or the landlords are forced to sell the property so others will buy it up. This is how Bill de Blasio bought up so much property in New York when he shut down the state for COVID. Freezing the rent doesn't stop the world from turning. Everybody has taxes to pay, everyone has bills to cover, and landlords, the vast majority of whom are literally us, regular working people, are forced to have to sell things off because they can't pay everything. Rent is a form of income for landlords who are oftentimes already out doing work. It doesn't ease anyone's burden. You are taking things away from people that they worked hard to achieve so that some other schmucky fucking Zohran Mamdani kind of person can come in and buy it up dirt cheap. It only enriches the rich. But then again, communists are so mentally deficient they can't plan ahead to complete a game of Connect 4, so of course this sounds like a good idea to them. Furthermore, he wants to build more houses. How and for who? I'm all for new homes and giving out more things if possible, but where does the resource come from for this kind of project? Again, if it's undertaken by the city, then the taxes will increase dramatically on the citizens to pay for the project whether they like it or not. Regardless, taxes would still need to be raised if the city is only paying contractors to build the homes. It doesn't matter which direction you go, as long as the city is the one in charge, the taxes have to go up, so the city can either do it themselves or pay others to do it. Moving on, he wants to eliminate bus fare. This is just more bullshit misdirection. Again, it all comes down to taxation. If you aren't going to pay the money up front, then you're going to pay the money later when the taxes have to increase to be able to compensate for the fare to be used for the buses to be able to operate. And the most retarded out of the 5 is definitely that he wants to speed up the buses. How the hell does this retard think he's gonna do that? What, are you gonna increase or outright remove the speed limits? You know, because obviously being late for work allows you to just speed run through everyone like Peter Griffin did the Boston Marathon. And the only other way to get around that problem would be to build bus tunnels or some sort of elevated manner for them to travel. And you don't want to guess the amount that that's gonna cost. Now, the last promise is to implement universal child health care. On the surface, I agree, of course, but everything on paper sounds good until you get to the practice. No doubt, this is going to include illegal aliens, which is only going to put more pressure on the system unfairly. I feel for those kids, but again, it's the Democrats that want a slave class in this country. Moral conundrum aside, just hear it for yourself when he went on Fox News.
So a lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50%. of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than, what is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income taxes by 2%.
Is fair?
And my point is this:
give up more than half of your income. That's
if you're making $1 million in New York City, or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And the reasons you can afford to do so is because that money will be used to better your quality of life as well.
Yeah.
Because when I speak to the wealthiest New Yorkers, I hear concerns about the cleanliness of the city, the quality of life in the city, questions of public safety. This money is the money that will be used to deliver on those things so that we can ensure that we have a return on investment for all of the money that we are raising and spending right here across the 5 boroughs.
What a terrible argument. Oh, it's just 2%. It's now a majority. Whether it's slim or not, a majority of your money is going to go towards taxes into the state. And as this sleazebag has already tried saying before on Meet the Press, he's going to target whiter neighborhoods.
There's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now, what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website?
The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right.
And notice the weasel wording there. He's trying to use it as a descriptor when we all know he's definitely going wink wink to his audience. You cannot tax people into capitulation. If you increase taxes on the people, then those with money will leave. So the fair share that had to be paid by the people who left is now switched over onto the shoulders of those who weren't able to leave. It's the poor and the middle class who have to deal with that burden because the rich will leave. And now one of the biggest regrets I have about all of this is not having invested in any sort of property or land down in Florida, because my goodness, in the next couple months, I would have hit it rich. Because the GDP of Florida is about to increase with how many millionaires are about to go down there to escape communism. Because stupidly enough, communism is the antidepressant of government. People keep falling for the sales pitch again and again and abuse it for years in the hopes it will fix things without realizing it's what exacerbates the problem. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, then please like, share, and subscribe to help build this kingdom. Head to my main channel, Albeleo, for movie reviews and discussions. Check out my tertiary channel, Balmorian Galaxy, for BattleTech and MechWarrior. And if you feel so inclined, then please donate to me on Subscribestar so I can produce more content for all of you. I thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.